South Park is back, but this time things are bigger, weirder, and way more broken. Because to get the Platinum Trophy in the Fractured Butthole, we are not just fighting crime, we're dealing with time travel, corrupt police, and one of the most ridiculous final bosses I've ever seen. And we have to do all of this on the hardest difficulty. Yeah, this is going to go well. In this video, we're playing the second entry to the South Park series. Released 3 years after the Stick of Truth, we once again meet Cartman, except now, he's ditched wizards for superheroes, and he's hoping to build a franchise big enough to rival the Avengers. With crime supposedly on the rise, Cartman decides the only logical solution is time travel. Before we jump in, if you're enjoying the content, be sure to drop a like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments whether South Park is the best adult cartoon of all time. At the start of the game, we create our character. Most of this doesn't matter until you select your skin tone. For the Token Experience trophy, you need to complete the entire game as a black character. So naturally, that's exactly what we do. The second requirement, beat the game on Mastermind difficulty. Just like the first game, the first thing that we must do is take a massive dump. Completing the toilet minigame earns the Potty Train trophy, and yes, there is a trophy for mastering every toilet in South Park, but we'll get into that nightmare later. Now that we're properly prepared, we crank the difficulty up and head downstairs. Kyle and Butters are waiting at the door. Cartman has been captured, Cooper Keep has fallen, and apparently we're still playing Lord of the Rings. The combat in this game is immediately familiar, but I'd say that it's upgraded. It's still turn-based, but now you can move around the battlefield. Positioning actually matters, and each button triggers a different ability. We quickly earn the Big Knocker trophy for killing an enemy using another enemy. Then we smash through even more guards, take down a dragon, and finally reach Cartman's backyard. Jimmy is being interrogated, which is about as effective as you'd expect.
With magical songs of enchantment. Magical songs of enchantment.
Then, suddenly, Cartman appears, now as a superhero, and he explains everything. Crime, chaos, and the potential to kickstart a franchise. And just like that, the entire game shifts into superheroes. Down in Cartman's lair, all of the heroes are gathered, debating their next move. The current case? A missing cat named Scrambles, worth $100, which apparently is enough to kickstart a cinematic universe to rival Marvel. Cartman assigns everyone their mission, and finally acknowledges us. We select our class and receive a tragic backstory involving burglars, trauma, and our dad doing our mum. South Park, everybody. Out in the world, friendships work a little differently this time. Instead of Facebook, you now have to build a following by taking selfies for Instagram. Same idea, just a little bit more narcissistic. At Kyle's house, we deal with an alternate version of Human Kite, his cousin. He cheats constantly, rewrites the rules mid-fight, and is just as annoying as in the show. Eventually though, Karma catches up to him. Completing the quest unlocks Kyle as a buddy, and he can now be used in combat. Next up, Super Craig. He refuses to help until we rescue his guinea pig. After grabbing some snap pops and weaponising gross out mechanics, we save the pet and unlock Craig as a buddy too. We also discover that his dad is into yaoi art, which is basically anime about his son and his boyfriend Tweak, because that's normal. Back at the lair, Cartman introduces artifacts. Gear that can boost your power level. He gives us a fidget spinner, but thanks to the Ubisoft Club, we've already got much stronger options. Now that we're arguably overpowered, we're able to take on the 6th graders blocking the path ahead, and eventually unlock Main Street, where we can recruit Fast Pass. Heading into all available shops in the game, we keep on snapping selfies to increase our following, and after you take your 10th selfie, we earn ourselves the #followbacks trophy. Cartman radios in and tells us that we need to flesh out our character sheet, so we head over to the church. Father Maxie sends us into a dark room to meditate, but this turns into hell in a cell, where we have to fight off the priests that are trying to molest us. South Park does not hold back, man. For defeating them, we earned a Fashionista trophy, which is earned for collecting 10 costume pieces. And then Father Maxie apologises and gives us the macaroni picture recipe and a piece of macaroni, and we instantly craft the picture and earn the Pasta of Profits trophy. To continue fleshing out our character sheet, Mr. Mackey gives us a lesson in gender identity. We admit to the crime of being a cisgender male, and immediately get attacked by rednecks.
Well, if it ain't a cisgendered boy.
Anyways, Cartman calls with a special mission. Get him a taco. Inside the taco shop, we meet Morgan Freeman, who teaches us about the art of crafting, and we create the world's first enchilito. Then we go ahead and complete a few of the accessible toilet challenges, but unlock the Toxic Environment trophy, which is fitting, but it's actually earned for collecting 100 biohazard items. From there, we head into Raisins, where we meet Mosquito. He's completely under the spell of the Raisin Girls, basically South Park's version of Hooters. And yeah, he's down bad. Once that's all dealt with, Mosquito helps us to flesh out our character sheet sheet by letting us pick our kryptonite. Naturally, we go with crab people, because you barely fight them anyway. While we're here, we stick around the parking lot and grind out one of the easier trophies. By repeatedly beating up the girls, we max out one of the character sheet titles and unlock the Titleist trophy. At the same time, a bit of menu experimentation earns us the Cosplay Curious trophy for mixing 3 different sets of gear. Back at the lair, Cartman takes one look at our hero and basically tells us that we're terrible. Out of pity, he gives us a second class. We go with Elementalist here, which completely rewrites our backstory, but still, the outcome remains the same.
You saw your dad. Fuck your mom.
With our new class unlocked, we go ahead and equip a move from both classes to earn the Class Warfare trophy. Then there's an alert, and the Freedom Pals show up. There's a brief standoff in the street with Kenny, Tolkien and Tweak, but it doesn't fully kick off yet. Instead, Cartman is able to grab Timmy's phone and we head back to the lair to analyse it. His phone reveals that someone with a dick tattoo might know where Scrambles is. Only problem is, she works at an establishment that is only accessible at night. With that, we head home for the night. And for once, nothing insane happens. No aliens, no gnomes, just waiting around for the call of duty. Because under the cover of darkness, we're teamed up with Captain Diabetes. And yes, that is Scott Malkinson. From there, we push onto the Peppermint Hippo, the supposed location of our next lead. Only problem is, it's 21+. Thankfully, Captain Diabetes has the strength to get us inside. But what follows is one of the weirdest sequences in the game. This does surprisingly work, and we eventually uncover the person that we're looking for. A dancer named Classy, who has a tattoo of a dick hanging off the sea that bends around and fucks the L out of the ASS. Trying to reach her means fighting through waves of strippers, which is just as chaotic as it sounds. And just when it feels like we're making some progress, the boss shows up. Spontaneous Booty. She has infinite health, and I don't know about you, but I don't really want to find out how much damage her booty slam attack does. Chasing Classy into the restaurant next door, things go from bad to worse. Malkinson tries to go Hulk mode, but comes to the sad realisation that he has no more insulin, sending him into diabetic shock. This is also where we learn the time fart move. By channeling our inner demons and eating the enchilada that we made earlier, we are able to rewind time and save his life. Inside the restaurant, we regroup with the others, but Classy is still nowhere to be seen. Out back, we uncovered the biggest crime yet, cat trafficking. In the final room, we discover Classy talking to some mafia guys who are just about to kill us when wine-drunk Randy shows up. Earlier in the game, he had asked us to find out who had been keying his car every night. But of course, it turns out that it was actually him the whole time. And to save him from driving under the influence, we took his keys. But now he wants his keys back. He has some pretty mean attacks, but nothing that our crew can't handle. And eventually, we take him down, which earns the Diabetes Defender Trophy. With things finally calming down, Classy explains what's really going on. An unknown figure is paying the 6th graders to collect cats. Before we can dig any deeper though, Mrs. Cartman shows up and shuts everything down. The next morning, everything escalates. A cutscene reveals that Sergeant Yates has been orchestrating crime across South Park, using cat urine, or cheese, to fuel chaos by spiking the drug and alcohol supply. So yeah, the police are corrupt.
I am shocked! Shocked! Well, not that shocked.
Classy is now hiding at Jimmy's house, and if we want answers, we need to get her medication. Before heading there, we get sidetracked again by Human Kite.
I'm big.
Not this kid again. After dealing with his alternate self again, we unlock Fart Core, which opens up a ton of new exploration routes across the map. From here, we grab a couple of quick trophies. Junksmith for crafting 10 recipes, and during a 1v5 against some Raisin Girls, we use the macaroni picture from earlier to summon Moses and grab the Call in a Favour trophy, before finally heading to Medical Fried Chicken. But getting inside isn't going to be so simple. The pharmacy is locked up, tighter than Fort Knox, so we need to craft the special cheesy shrimp burrito recipe. We head across town collecting the ingredients. Cheese from Skeeter's Roof and shitty shrimp from Shitty Wok. And along the way, we meet PC Principal. He introduces microaggressions into combat, which actually will be surprisingly useful if anyone makes the mistake of not being politically correct. With everything collected, we unlock a new time fart and gain access to the MFC by pausing time to get past the security. Inside we meet Towley. He's sober, he's calm, which lasts about 10 seconds. The fight against Towley is completely unique. You can't damage him, instead you have to let him set you on fire and use that to ignite the weed piles around the arena. And after lighting all 4, he finally chills out and gives us the prescription. Back at Jimmy's, we hand it over. Classy reveals that the cats are being taken to the You Store It, but as soon as we leave, we are tracked down by the police, who tells us that Sergeant Yates wants to have a word with us. Once we arrive though, instead of arresting us, he offers us a job as a junior detective. Our first task, take down a local drug kingpin. And if you know South Park, you already know where this is going. We head over to Nicole's house and find her dad in the kitchen, and by South Park logic, that's all the evidence that we need. Where is PC Principal when you need him? From there, we move to Tolkien's house, and yep, You guessed it, his dad is also a drug dealer. Tolkien's family does have a security detail though. During the fight with them, we're able to keep an ally alive for an entire combat while they take twice their max health in damage and pick up the Death Dodger trophy. In the fight with Tolkien's dad, we are able to use the new Time Fart Pause ability and finish him off while he's frozen to earn the Stop, Drop and Roll trophy. At this point, we've gone from playing superheroes to actively working with the corrupt police. Instead of pushing the story any further, we take a quick detour to clean up some of the remaining combat-based trophies. In a battle against some Raisin Girls, we let our entire team go down before finishing off the last girl, which earns us the Last Kid Standing trophy. The next trophy is a little more awkward. By applying bleed damage to an enemy, you then need to skip their turn with Time Fart Glitch, only for them to bleed out on the very next turn, which earns us the Glitch of Death trophy. Back at the lair, our heroes are discussing the order in which they should release their solo movies, and we are given a third class type, the Assassin. But before we can really test it, Fastpass calls us out to the park. The Freedom Pals have a message for us. It turns out to be Toolshed, aka Stan Marsh. He has found out that we helped his dad avoid drink driving last night, and now he owes us a favour. But then the rest of the Freedom Pals show up, and this time it's not just a standoff, it's a full-on fight. Timmy is the real problem here. He can summon kindergartners and teleport, which drags out the fight, and he can completely throw off your rhythm if you're not careful. First attempt, yeah, we got smoked. Second time around though, we play it a little bit more smarter. We are able to capitalise on Kenny after he does a microaggression, and then we make sure to target Timmy first and then slowly clean up the rest. Shortly after that win, PC Principal calls us in. He wants to talk about our race and ethnicity. Now technically you can change your skin colour here, but for the token experience trophy, that absolutely is not happening. This will be useful for a trophy after the main story is finished though. With that locked in, we can now craft stronger artifacts, and for crafting an artifact with a might value of over 75, the Epic Artificer trophy unlocks. And now we're finally ready for the next major objective, the You Store It. There is just one problem though, the entrance is completely blocked by red Lego bricks. I mean lava. Either way, we need help. That's where Toolshed comes in, and thankfully, he owes us a favour. Once again, under the cover of darkness, we sneak out, but this time we meet Stan and make our way through Kenny's house. Using his sandblaster, we can blast away the lava. The only issue is, it needs an air compressor to plug into. After finally gaining access to the facility, things immediately feel different. That's right, this is Professor Chaos's domain, and he's gone all in. Well, sort of. Cool Girl shows up, fully suited and acting like she's been part of the team the whole time. Cartman, of course, is not having it.
Who the fuck is that?
She explains that there's someone new in South Park, someone powerful enough to unite all of the crime families. The Italians, the Russians, the Chinese, the kind of person who doesn't just control crime, but profits from it. And just like that, the missing cats aren't the main problem anymore. She hands us the newest iPhone, upgrades our intel, and officially joins the team as a usable buddy, which is huge because she has some really strong abilities. From here, we push further into the facility, and things keep getting worse. More enemies and lava all over the place. It's clear that Professor Chaos has gone completely overboard. Eventually, we're stopped by General Disarray, who is a big problem. He is able to flood the battlefield with extra minions, lava, and he constantly repositions. This forces you to think a few turns ahead, otherwise you'll get easily overwhelmed. Just like the battle against Dr. Timothy, instead of wasting time clearing everything, we go straight for him. During the battle, one of the minions makes the mistake of throwing out a microaggression towards us, which we punish instantly. And in the process, we max out enough character sheet titles to unlock the Character Sheet Elite trophy. Anyway, with Disarray down, Cartman smashes his controller. This does unfortunately release all of the lava in the facility. The team regroups, trying to figure a way out, but something's wrong. Super Craig is missing. For a second, it actually feels like the game is going to play it seriously, but this is South Park that we're talking about. With no air compressor, Stan's sandblaster is useless, until we step up. Using our own unique abilities, we manage to power the sandblaster ourselves. Don't question it. While playing Storage Wars, we find exactly what we're looking for. Cat cages and junkies guarding them. The fight here is rough. The actual fight area is a lot more tight than it would seem. Once we finally clear them, one of the survivors lets slip about the big man. He is the one responsible for running the entire operation, and the one behind everything. Before we can get any more useful information out of him, he cheeses himself to death. Because of course he does. With no more answers to be found, we try to escape, but that's when Professor Chaos shows up, and he's not playing around. The Mecha Minion Chaos Supreme fight is easily one of the biggest set pieces so far. Multiple phases, constant pressure, and just enough chaos to keep things unpredictable. But once you break it down, It's still just Butters at the end of the day. We firstly focus on the main body, ignoring everything else, and slowly chip him down. Phase by phase, the mech falls apart, until eventually he goes down. With Professor Chaos defeated, we take him to Cartman's asylum for questioning. Stan heads back to the Freedom Pals, and we're left standing in the aftermath, feeling like we've got more questions than answers today. Back at the lair, the team tries to piece everything together. Who is the big man? How are they controlling everything? And why cats? The worst part? Not even Butters knows who paid him, which means that whoever is behind this has been pulling the strings from the very beginning. Just a quick reminder to say, if you haven't already, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It really does help me more than you'd know. Day 3 begins and South Park has officially turned on us. The news is calling out for the masked vigilante and there's a warrant out for our arrest. Somehow we've gone from helping the police to being hunted by them. But before we deal with any of that, we've still got school. After sitting through another completely normal day in South Park, we unlock the Chaos Controlled Story Trophy, and the second we're free, it's straight back to business. We meet up with Cool Girl. Her phone plan has been cancelled, which might not sound like a big deal, but considering she's an 8-year-old girl, it's a huge problem. So we head over to D-Mobile to figure out what's going on. But the second we walk in, something feels off. So yeah, remember when we picked crab people as our kryptonite because we thought we'd never fight them? Well, that's not looking like the greatest decision right now. The fight itself isn't too bad, but it does escalate quickly. Crab people keep on showing up, and they start swarming the battlefield, and before long, we're dealing with their leader, the King Crab. He's tanky, constantly spawning back up and drags the fight out longer than you'd like. But with good positioning and a bit of patience, he goes down. With that side quest completed, Cool Girl's situation is sorted, but the bigger problems are still very much in play. So we return to the lair, where the crew begin to think that the franchise is falling behind. Instead of competing with the Freedom Pals, we're going to steal their intel from them. The plan is to go undercover and switch franchises. For that, we'll need Butters' help, so Cartman reluctantly releases him. We head over to Butters' house to grab his things, but just as we're about to leave, his dad walks in and grounds us. I mean, fair enough, he didn't exactly come home last night. While we're grounded, we do unlock the Haywire ability, which lets us access even more areas, but we're not out yet. On the way downstairs, we're stopped once again by Mr. Stotch, but this time, it turns into a full-on fight. This battle has a twist. Butters' dad can ground your teammates mid-fight, effectively removing them from play. Your ultimate is replaced with Unground, which forces you to manage your team before you can even think about attacking. Once everyone's back in action, the fight is straightforward, and we finally escape. Out of nowhere though, we're contacted by Mitch Connor. If you know, you know. He wants to meet, which means heading to Soda Sopa. While we're there, we grab a couple of easy trophies. Fartcoring to the top of the building nets us the Divine Win trophy, and for collecting all the homeless guy's coins earns us the Pick Yourself Up by Your Bootstraps trophy. At the meeting point, instead of Mitch, we're greeted by the Italian crime boss, and rather than fighting us himself, he calls on the shitty ninja service. During this fight, we get the perfect setup. Using Professor Chaos's Confusertron, one of the confused enemies takes out their own teammate, unlocking the Master Manipulator trophy. From here, we move to Tolkien's house. With his dad in prison, we're able to access the basement, which just so happens to be the Freedom Pals HQ. Inside, we officially switch teams. Timmy gives us a test. Help Tupperware and Wonder Tweak at the retirement home. What follows is one of the weirdest sequences in the game. After a failed performance for the residents, we are exposed as the vigilante, and they're not happy because we've been stealing their meds, so we have to escape. This isn't a standard fight either. The goal is simply to get out of Shady Acres. Once we do, we're accepted into the Freedom Pals. With both sides now feeding us information, everything points to one place: the police station. Before heading there though, we clean up a few trophies. We firstly grab Deep-Seated Power for reaching 600 might, and there's also a trophy for using each of your allies' ultimate powers at least once. And now that we have Mysterion unlocked, we can use his ultimate, which unlocks the Orgy of Power trophy. Next up was Captain Stoley's toilet. However, this one is pure pain. After multiple failed attempts, I had to bring in my girlfriend to move the right stick right to left, while I moved the left stick up and down. Try it for yourself and tell me that's not impossible. In addition, with Stan's Sandblaster ability unlocked, we can now unclog some of the toilets in the town that were previously locked. In the community centre, we master our 21st toilet and earn the Crappin' Forte trophy. After wrapping up those trophies, we regroup at Cartman's lair, where we are rewarded with a 4th class. And once you equip a move from each of the 4, you unlock the Master Class trophy. After the sun goes down, it's time. We're going to the police station tonight. Both franchises collide outside the police station.
I can't help but feel partially responsible.
Working together now, we clear the ground floor easily. Upstairs, we find the prison cells. Jesus Christ. And then confront Sergeant Yates. He admits everything, orchestrating crime, manipulating the city, and most importantly, he has scrambles. Before we can act, he unleashes his secret weapon, Jared the Subway Guy. This fight can be tricky. His sandwich attack is brutal, but once we bring him down, we descend deeper into the station. That's when things get really messed up. Yates has been feeding these black prisoners to an elder god, and Classy is up next. Thankfully, the elder god doesn't like to eat white meat, so with our newfound knockback attack, we use the mechanics to feed the white people to the creature, and eventually take it down, freeing Classy and Scrambles, which earns the An End to Racism trophy. Outside, things fall apart again. Timmy turns our allies against us, forcing one final fight before revealing his multiverse plan. Thanks to this, the two franchises merge, but Cartman doesn't seem too pleased about that.
But we're calling it Freedom Pals?
The next morning, everything changes. Our house is completely covered in blood. Our parents are gone, and on the news, Mitch Connor is running for mayor. We rush over to the Freedom Pals HQ to figure out what the hell is going on. We do manage to gain Classy as a summon, which in turn unlocks the Friend Finder trophy. And inside, things aren't looking good. The multiverse plan that Timmy had been working on has completely been destroyed. Before we can even process that, we get the confirmation. Our parents have been taken by Mitch Connor. That explains the blood at least. At this point, the stakes have completely shifted. This isn't about Scrambles anymore, not about franchises or followers. This is personal. Timmy gives us access to every class in the game, which basically turns us into a fully maxed out menace, and we set off to track down Mitch. To find him, we're led on a wild goose chase. First stop, Tweak Coffee. We meet a random guy who hands us a message, directing us to somebody else, each one leading us somewhere new. Jimbo's guns, then the park. It quickly becomes obvious that none of this actually matters. It's all just a distraction. Mitch has been using us to push his mayoral campaign to our followers, which means we've basically become a free advertising board. Cool Girl manages to trace the signal back to the community centre, so we regroup with the Freedom Pals and head inside. And of course, it's Cartman, with Mitch Connor still attached to his left hand. This fight is chaos. Cartman constantly changes the rules mid-combat, messing with turn order, abilities, and even basic mechanics. It just feels completely unfair, which is exactly the point. Eventually, we overpower him, drag him back to base, and begin the interrogation, which in South Park fashion involves us eating various food items and farting on him until he finally cracks. He reveals that our parents are being held at the genetics lab. At the lab, we try to enter normally, but the next talk isn't for another 6 hours. Luckily, Morgan Freeman's Force Ghost shows up again and teaches us the final time fart ability, which lets us shift time between day and night on command. With that, we skip the wait and head straight inside. The genetics lab is exactly as messed up as you'd expect. Mutated animals and plants with additional asses on everything. Mephisto walks us through his work, revealing that the 6th graders have been genetically engineered to protect the genetically engineered cats, because more asses means more cheese, and more cheese means more crime. From here, it's a gauntlet of fights. Mutant 6th graders, multi-assed cats, wave after wave of enemies, and yeah, this is when the pacing really starts to drag a bit, especially on Mastermind difficulty. But eventually, we reach Cartman, and this is where everything clicks into place. He reveals his full plan, and thankfully has a PowerPoint with it all laid out for us to take a sneaky snap of. His plan is to increase crime to get the mayor voted out, and then, once he's voted in, turn every day into Christmas. Then he reveals his final weapon, Mutant Cousin Kyle. During the fight, we do unlock the fully bloated trophy for unlocking all combat time farts, but now we have to deal with a boss fight. This thing has a ridiculous amount of health, deals massive damage, and applies constant pressure on the team, but it does have one weakness, sunlight. Using our new time fart abilities, we constantly shift between day and night, exposing its weak state and dealing as much damage as possible before switching again. The best setup here that I found was to use Cool Girl for her self-protection and defense down ability, Mysterion to further lower Kyle 2's defense, and Captain Diabetes for his heavy damage and survivability. With the rotations, we slowly chip down the abomination and finally take him out, unlocking the invasive tumour removal trophy. Outside the lab, we're ready to expose everything. One problem though. We've time farted a bit too much. We've skipped forward an entire week and Mitch Connor is already mayor. We rush to City Hall, but it's confirmed that we're too late. That's when Morgan Freeman shows up one last time, with the possibility of the most ridiculous solution yet. A 7-layer quesarito chipotle beefy nacho supreme. Apparently, the last person who ate this created a time-shattering fart powerful enough to open a wormhole, so naturally, we eat it. But we mess it up. Instead of going back, we're launched forward into the future. Every day is Christmas, the town has completely lost it, and worst of all, we've fractured our butthole.
Well, shit.
Before we can even process that, we're attacked by the woodland critters. These things are insanely strong, but just when it looks like it's all over, we try praying to Jesus for help, but we accidentally shoot Santa out of the sky. Obviously he's not happy, but he is willing to help us. With Santa on our side, we take down the critters and push forward to the abortion clinic, where we are repaired. Now we can go back, all the way to the beginning. This sequence is brilliant. We fight through characters from the Stick of Truth in a full circle moment, tying both games together. Finally, we reach Cartman's room and find him just about to time travel for the first time.
Show us your left hand! My left hand for what?
Show us your fucking left hand!
Unfortunately, he knows our weakness. One punch to the solar plexus sends us back to our childhood. Here, everything slows down. We relive our tragic backstory, except this time, we see the truth. The burglars, actually fans. Our parents, they're actually like us. They too have the power to make friends online supernaturally quick. They met in a government facility, and we were born with abilities more powerful than both of theirs combined. The medication that was intended to suppress our friend-making ability, instead, had been amplifying our ass powers. Now that we fully understand our backstory, we can now believe in ourselves. We time fart back to the present where Mitch Connor's inauguration is underway. But then if you can believe this, it gets even more ridiculous. Kyle is Mitch. Cartman is Mitch. Mitchception. The final fight of the story is pure nonsense. Both Mitches constantly cheat, breaking rules and bending mechanics, but eventually Dr. Timothy steps in and enforces order. With that, we're able to take them both down, unlocking Through the Bowels of Time trophy. Mitch's plan collapses, the town rejects him, everything goes back to normal. Well, as normal as South Park can be. With the story complete on Mastermind difficulty as a black character, the token experience trophy unlocks. But we're not done yet. It's cleanup time. We collect all 40 Yowie pieces for Boy Love Aficionado, head to the bank and brute force the RNG for Corporate Wolf, and then finally meet up with PC Principal so that we can change our skin colour to allow Morgan Freeman to actually fight us. Yeah, that's the thing apparently. After a tough battle, we take him down and unlock the Farts Over Freckles trophy, and with that, the more powerful than you think Platinum trophy. South Park The Fractured Butthole improves on almost everything from the first game. The combat is deeper, the systems are more engaging, and the humour is just as hilarious as ever. The only downside in my opinion, some of the fights definitely overstay their welcome, especially when you're playing the hardest difficulty. But overall, a really fun Platinum. If you've enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and let me know what you'd like to see next.